Believe it or not. Introduction. Have you heard that hairy giants live in our wilderness, or that extraterrestrials make strange designs in wheat fields? Would you believe it? What if a friend told you an ancient curse causes people to die, or that something in a part of the Atlantic Ocean makes ships disappear? How would you know if these stories were true? After reading this book, you'll have evidence about these four unsolved mysteries. You can decide whether or not you think they're real. Bigfoot. In remote areas in Pacific areas of the Pacific Northwest, Native Americans have told stories about gigantic, mysterious ape-like creatures for hundreds of years. The Salish peoples of Canada called them Sasquatch, which means wild man of the woods. English speakers, most of them use the name Bigfoot. Others who have reported encounters with this creature include railway and forest workers, hikers, travelers, and people who live in remote areas. Most of them have never heard of the Native American stories. A Bigfoot is reported to be as tall as 8 feet and covered with hair. Based on the depth of its tremendous footprints, its weight is estimated to be 350 to 800 pounds. People who see one frequently report hearing high-pitched screams and smelling a foul odor. Psychozoologists, scientists who study animals that may or may not exist, and a few other people have spent a lot of time and money to find out whether Bigfoot really exists. After following up on thousands of witness reports, they have not yet found proof. In 1924, a lumberjack went into the mountains alone to prospect for gold. During the third night of his trip, he was carried off in a sleeping bag by something huge and smelly. Later, it dropped him in a clearing where 4 other ape-like creatures surrounded him. They seemed to be a family. He escaped, badly shaken but unharmed, after nearly a week. This is just one report of Bigfoot encounter. In the vast forests and glaciers of the northwestern United States, nature quietly gets rid of dead bodies. However, scientists believe that if Bigfoot does exist, someone should be able to find a dead body, a skeleton, or fossil remains. Yet, nothing has yet been found. In 1977, a Bigfoot sighting in northern Washington turned out to be a hoax that was planned by 3 young men. This makes some people think that other reports must have been faked as well. Do you think the Bigfoot sightings are real or a hoax? Crop circles. Strange circles of flattened plants in fields were reported as early as 1590. Farmers thought they were made by wind. In the 1980s, the number of the circles increased, and they changed to more intricate designs. Most crop circles form mysteriously at night, but a few people report having seen them being formed by spaceships or whirlwinds. Sometimes lights are seen in the sky, and humming of music is heard. Sometimes radiation can be detected inside the circles. The crops inside circles are not crushed. They are bent at the lowest node of the stalk. Often these bent crops grow better than the plants outside the circles. Scientific experiments suggest the microwave beams might cut the circles, but from where would they come? And who would be controlling them? Some people think they're messages from outer space. In areas where many circles are found, some people watch the fields at night for signs of activity. They say that complicated circle patterns can appear in just a few minutes. Many crop circles are made up by humans for a variety of reasons. Some people just want to prove that it can be done, while others want to play tricks. In 1991, Englishmen Dong Boer and David Charley claimed that they had made every crop circle since 1978. Some people accept the explanation of their hosts, while others doubted that they had the skill and strength to create huge patterns at night without being seen. Dutch retracted his confession 7 years later. Some people suggest that the circles are created by tornadoes. Crop circle designs are controlled with intricate though, while tornadoes destroy a wide area. Other theory is based on a type of whirlwind called a plasma vortex. A plasma vortex can be created the lights and sounds reported by the eyewitnesses. It can hover in one place or move as if it's under remote control, which could make it look like a UFO. Some researchers have suggested that the military is developing a high-energy weapon powered by microwaves. In this scenario, crop circles are produced by tests of this top-secret weapon. Do you think crop cycles are real or a hoax? The Curse of the Mummy. In 1922, Howard Carter discovered the tomb of the Egyptian pharaoh Tutankhamun, known today as King Tut. The tomb was filled with incredibly valuable treasures. Newspapers circulated stories of a curse painted on the tomb wall that said, "They who enter this sacred tomb shall swift be visited by wings of death." Carter's search for the tomb was funded by Lord Carnarvon. When Lord Carnarvon died in 1923, newspapers said he was killed by the pharaoh's curse. The newspapers reported that 26 people involved with finding the tomb died in the first 10 years. Many of these deaths were thought to involve suspicious circumstances. This mystery has been used as a theme for many movies, books, and games. In the early 1900s, reporters sometimes invented facts to make stories more exciting. Lord Carnarvon had actually been sick for 20 years before he died. The timing of his death might have been a coincidence. Research shows that only 6 people involved with finding the tomb died in the first 10 years. Howard Carter worked at a tomb for at least 10 years, and he lived for 17 years after the discovery. The curse was reportedly written in the tomb was not there at all. Dead bodies might produce bacteria that could cause illness and death. Could this have contributed to Lord Carnarvon's death? Early people who robbed tombs might have become sick in this way. This might have been how stories of the curse started. Early Egyptians believed that kings should be buried in the riches to use in their next life. These Egyptians may have started legends of danger to keep people away from the tombs. Do you think the Curse of the Mummy is real or a hoax? Bermuda Triangle. Strange things have been happening for ships and planes in the Atlantic Ocean between Florida, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico. In 1965, Vicente Gariz wrote a book about these strange occurrences called Invisible Horizons. He was the first to call the area the Bermuda Triangle. He also called it the Triangle of Death. Numerous planes and ships disappeared in this area. Crews vanished from ships. Dense fog suddenly appeared, and compasses and navigation equipment stopped working. On a clear day in 1945, while a group of planes was on a routine training mission, all of them lost their bearing and disappeared. The rescue airship that went to look for them also disappeared. In 1881, the merchant ship Aston discovered a ghost ship floating without a crew. A crew boarded to steer her to port, but a thick fog surrounded both ships. When the ghost ship was found on the next day, the second crew had disappeared as well. The USS Cyclops disappeared in 1980. This is one of the earliest incidents linked to the Bermuda Triangle. In 1966, Captain Donald Henry's tug, the Good News, was towing a cargo barge from Puerto Rico to Florida when dense fog suddenly swirled around the barge. The Good News lost the use of its instruments, and particularly lost power. For 5 minutes, the ship struggled in a tug of war with the fog bank. It finally managed to pull itself and the barge free. People claim that the mysterious power causes many losses of the ship and crews in the Bermuda Triangle. Some people think that UFOs capture humans and take them away. Others think the unexplained losses are a result of the surf weather common in the area. Any vessel that is destroyed would sink without a trace. After being rescued, some of the missing crews tell stories of being forced to leave their storm-damaged ships. Some insist that nothing unusual is going on in the area. They suggest that some of the losses blame the Bermuda Triangle actually happened several hundred miles away. Sometimes vessels that have been reported lost appeared later. Do you think the Bermuda Triangle is real or a hoax? Conclusion: mysterious will always exist. Some people will think they're nonsense, and others will claim they're real. Now that you've read evidence about 4 of them, it's time to consider what you've read and determine what you believe. You can use the internet and a library to find more information. What do you think about these mysteries? And what others can you find?